And we are on air and live. Hello to everyone who is joining us. Welcome to the April Stitch and Bitch. This is a live show that we do where we basically just sit around and we crochet or knit, and then we BS about books and fandom. I'm joined today by Claire and Rachel. Why don't you guys go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Both knitting and crocheting. I'm Claire. I do a booktube channel called Claire Russo where I talk about books and also sci-fi fantasy news, sci-fi fantasy and fandom news. I have an episode of my news show that should be coming either today or tomorrow. It's a bit late because EasterCon happened. Also, I like going to conventions, and last weekend at EasterCon I bought like some fancy yarn, so now I have a Yes, and the project that I'm making for the Stitch and Bitch live shows is a book blanket that basically encodes the reading that I'm doing this year into a blanket, and it is a blanket made of crochet hexagon squares, which I've just started sewing together when I was at EasterCon. So I've got something now, which is pretty cool.
That's me. I have a question about the hexagons.
Yes.
Are you doing it in like a rectangle or a square, or are you going to make it an actual hexagon blanket?
Oh, yeah, no, it was going to be a rectangle because that's the pattern that I've got, but that's really smart. I mean, the problem is now I've started sewing it into a rectangle and it's in the order that I was reading. Although I just realized that this is my first books of the year. This is fantasy, sci-fi. Wait a minute, no, this is wrong. This is fantasy, comic book, fanfic, comic, sci-fi, fantasy, fanfic, fantasy, comic, fanfic. And then I went right back to the other side. So I made it completely basic insofar as it's rectangular and it's legible from right and then going up. So
yeah, I don't know how the pattern would go if you did it in an actual hexagon shape. It would almost be like spiraling out or something.
Yeah, like the center.
Yeah.
I mean, I could do that if I wanted to basically undo everything and start over again, but I'm not going to do that because I hate sewing hexagons together.
Yeah.
And also, the thing is slightly a problem with me doing the book blanket specifically and me doing this specifically for a book blanket is that I'm almost, the book blanket is supposed to be a record of your reading. That's supposed to tell you, kind of like those inspired by those blankets that is like temperatures through the year coded in color, right? But the blanket is affecting my reading because I'm very particular and I do not want it to of stuff next to each other. And so, where I would normally, if this were also the fanfic is just difficult to track because I read a lot of fic and I read a lot of fic that's not necessarily, this is a novel amount of fan fiction, right?
Mm-hmm.
And comics are short and all of that. But so this is like a nominal amount per hexagon. This is not a real amount per hexagon. But if this were an honest reading blanket, it would probably have like 5 squares of fan fiction next to each other. And then I've tried really hard to, with my original fiction, because it's tracked on Goodreads and I can keep track of it better, I've tried really hard to maintain it to be not the same genre directly after another. But when that happens, as in with comics or here with fantasy, I just pop a hexagon of fanfic in between because I don't stop reading fic between reading original fiction. So it's
sure.
Yeah.
I'm doing kind of the same thing with mine where I don't want the same colors next to each other.
Yeah.
So like half of my reading is going to be science fiction, so half of this is going to be read, and it's like I have to rearrange them in order to make it stripey. So I've just kind of given myself the leeway to move things around slightly. Like for me, it's just kind of rearranging a couple of days worth of reading, so I don't feel too bad about it.
Yeah, you do have a lot more. I feel like you're reading in general, and you still need to introduce yourself because we started talking about my thing. But your reading feels like it's more, this project feels like it's a lot more suited to your reading style because you read a lot.
Yeah.
Way too much sometimes. All at the same time. Yeah. So me, I'm Rachel. My channel is Colonnati, and as I already mentioned, I read a lot of science fiction. It's about half of what I read. And I'm working on my reading tracker Afghan, which is kind of a zigzag stripe Afghan. And when I catch up with what I can do today, I'm probably going to work on my really weird gloves that I'm just making up. I'm not following a pattern.
Wait, I didn't see that. Sorry,
This is the finished one that doesn't have the ends tucked in yet. So.
Oh, I see. That's cool.
And this is my left hand, which I have
of stitches when I was talking earlier. Now I'm like panicking.
Yeah, like I will finally finish this when I no longer need gloves, but I've been tired of it sitting on my nightstand and it keeps falling off and the yarn is getting tangled. So like I gotta finish that. So.
Well, I'm not actually working on my book blanket because I'm quilting mine.
Nice.
That is what I am actually good at. So I am working on a little lap blanket. The diamonds show up so much better than they do.
Oh, that's
right
so
now.
cool.
So this is just a little lap blanket for while I read. Anyway, so what's everyone reading this week? Because the Owls Readathon is here. It is almost over.
Yes.
Well,
that has been
we've only got like 2 days left. 3 if you count today.
So I went yesterday and I saw Endgame. And then, or no, I went Friday and saw Endgame, and then I spent yesterday kind of like surprised because one of my friends just kind of showed up, which was lovely, but not what I was expecting. And so I have lost officially like 2 days of reading time.
I mean, I started the readathon, like I said I was starting the readathon, like, you know, I wasn't it at all. And then
hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Hey. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My computer is just kind of
here, by the way.
My computer's just like being the worst today.
Nah. We don't mind.
Di, do you need to put headphones in because we're getting echo?
My headphones don't work on this computer because I have the shitty new iPhone. Headphones, and I haven't bought non-shitty iPhone headphones that have a microphone, so.
Okay. Well, mute is an option then.
Yeah.
Di, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what you're working on?
Yeah, so hi, my name is Di. I YouTube under Bookish Di, and I'm currently working on my book scarf, which I haven't worked on in the past week, but it's very, very long and very stripy.
It looks so cool.
Yeah, such a lovely Hoovian scarf.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Okay, so we were just catching up on the Owls Readathon.
Yeah, I know what I'm gonna be. I think I need to start Cersei next because it's one that I don't have the audiobook for. I have the physical copy, and so if that takes, it's not that it takes me longer to read physical books in audio. It's that it takes me, I find it more difficult to like stick to the one book and finish it when I'm reading physical books. So I need to do Circe next. I just actually finished Aquacon Cove, which I did for herbology because it's got plants on the cover. I think a lot of people picked it for that. And also, it's a finalist for the BookTube SFF Awards in graphic story. So I read that. That was interesting. My book has a bunch of misprints in it. So that was annoying. But I got a refund for it. It's so weird. Like, I mean, it's not the book's fault, nor, you know. I was like trying to read around it.
That's still really odd, though.
Well, let me show you. It's got a bunch of pages where it looks like it's like, you know.
Oh, fuzzy.
Yeah, because it's basically been printed, like the image has been printed twice with like maybe 3 millimeters difference or something. And so the first time it happens, it's on a page where like Lana is having, you know, like she's just remembering bad things happening. And I was like, is that like an artistic choice? yeah, because it's weird. But it was not, and that is fine. It's fine. I mean, yes, reserving more detailed thoughts for when we do because I'm a judge for later. But like, it's very, very, very pretty. I'm not sure I'm the target audience, but it's very pretty. And I just realized I don't have a pen to mark off where I am on this pattern. Yeah. Oh my god.
I am down to my last 2 books for the Owls Readathon. I've got
Nice.
Founding Gardeners by Andrea Wolf. This is, am I reading this for herbology? I think so, because it's the one with plants on the cover and it's about gardening. And this one is really interesting. It's basically about the founding fathers like George Washington, John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, and all the agricultural stuff they were up to at the beginning of the United States. So like the 1770s to the 1790s. And I love it. I love everything that Wolf has written, but it's very soothing for some reason to read. And then the other one, which I'm only like a quarter of the way through, is The Raven Tower by Anne.
I read that one last weekend, and I'm pretty sure I still have like a book hangover from finishing it because I've been making like zero progress with my current book, with like the second book I have after finishing that.
Yeah. This is I don't know if I like the way it's written. It's all first and second person, and it's throwing me off so badly. But I'm only a quarter of the way through it, so I don't know.
How did you get on with the Broken Earth bits that were in second person?
I like the parts from the Broken Earth that were in second person because there was a reason for it, and I kind of figured out early on what the reason was.
Oh, really? Because I was just like, oh, that's... I mean, you know, I figured she had a reason because she doesn't do things without a reason. But I was so, yeah.
And
I was hanging on, going, not enough for this book.
Yeah, I mean, there was really only one character that their sections were in second person, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the entire book. And the way that second person is being used in the Raven Tower, I don't understand why yet. Okay. And it's like I'm not sure who the speaker is yet. Like that part of the world building hasn't become clear yet. And I'm not sure why this entity is referring to you, who is another character whose actions are being narrated. Like, it's that case of I'm being told what I'm doing. Why should I need to be told what I'm doing? I don't know. But I understand now why some reviews have been a little bit negative. Like, you just never really connect to the characters, or it feels very distant, because I feel like I'm not inside of anybody's head really understanding what they're doing yet. So we'll see. So I'm not that far into it.
What about you, Brie?
So right now I am making my way through Patricia McKillip's The Forgotten Beasts of Eld, which is for care of magical creatures. It's got the land animal on the cover. I might cheat and double up and use it for herbology too, because it also has the plants. And it's okay so far. It feels very distant. Like you can tell it is an older fantasy book. And I'm not sure how I'm feeling about that quite yet. Too. And also I'm consistently losing track of where I am on this.
Yeah, I think I might be okay because I'm entering a portion of the pattern where like every line is different. So I think I might be, but I might yet mute myself and run to get a pen. Because, yeah.
I'm sometimes really bad at keeping track, and I'm also somebody who like I don't gauge my work because I'm lazy. So my stuff sometimes comes out real wonky.
This new yarn, which I'm using for this new knitting project, this is a that was sold at EasterCon. This is from Third Volt Yarns, and she did a special like hand dyed color for EasterCon called Glitter Bomb.
Really pretty.
It is really really pretty.
And it doesn't actually have a number on it. You know, it doesn't tell you what to use. So I just like trialed it with 5, and and I really like it.
The feedback is so bad. I'm having a hard time understanding you, Claire.
Oh, there we go.
Sorry. So I really like the way that, I mean, I don't know. It's just, I knit fairly loose, and I think I think it works really well. It's a really, really pretty yarn. It was quite expensive, but I do not regret it at all because it's really lovely. But as it turns out, my mother taught me to knit, and there are some things that my mother does because that's what she's used to do. Presumably her mom taught her, and they are wrong, or they are not like universal. My mom never knits or purls the first stitch of any row because she says if you do that, it kind of curls up the edges, and if you're making like or a mostly rectangular piece of knitting for a sweater, for instance, if you skip the first stitch of every row, then it makes the project lie more flat.
Yeah.
So I like start this blithely doing the usual, not even thinking about it. And then I realized that it was actually like it needed to have the room in the side that knitting every single stitch gives you, because it's already, you know, curling up massively. And every knitting row augments by 4 stitches, and every purl row augments by 2 stitches. So it's very steep incline. I'm sorry if this is extremely boring to anyone who does not knit, by the way. But I had to take this completely apart after 35 rows the other night because I found that like it just wouldn't lie at all. I've never even like blocked anything ever because I just not like, I wasn't even aware that blocking was a thing. So I'm hoping when it's done and it's blocked, it will lie flat. I have no idea. But I'm like kind of relearning to knit. It's ridiculous. Sorry, rant over.
No, it's interesting because it's interesting to me how people learn to knit because I've learned from like a book.
Yeah.
And then my aunt having me do like really weird projects that like looking back, like I don't know what she wanted me to get out of them. And so like trying to learn how to like effectively hold stuff, or people being like, you do that wrong. And I'm like, what do you mean?
Oh yeah, my mother thinks wrong because I move my mom can do a weird thing where she can like, whilst she's holding with the same hand, she can do some like weird I don't know. Like my finger just doesn't move like that. So what I do is I hold the string with, I pull the string with the other finger of the other hand, which is just something I started doing because I was sick of holding it and having to go like this, and it was so slow. Everybody who's ever seen me knit has said it was weird. So anyway, knit until the last 4 stitches. Yarn over. There we go.
So I did get that new Padme book, by the way, Di. I have not yet read it, but I have gotten it.
Ooh.
I have not read it either. It was going to be my astronomy one, but if I do want to try and finish all the prompts, it's not going to happen because I'm stalling. I'm like going very, very slowly through Brothers in Arms by Lois Master Bujold. So instead, this is going to end very poorly. I think I'm going to read the first volume of Soul's Darth Vader run, which I've heard really great things about. And also, it looks like some of the things, at least one of the characters who's introduced later in the run is going to show up in the new Fallen Order video game. Which I am a little annoyed about, that it is yet another white dude. But I'll still probably get it because it's single player, story driven, and I want EA to make more of those. Actually, no. Shit.
I mean, to be fair, well, not to be fair, but to be hopeful for what you want, Di, I think we've seen in gaming in the past couple years, people do want single player story driven games. I think EA will be looking at, you know, Bethesda and going like, let's not do that.
So what I really want is them to stop fucking over BioWare and let BioWare give me Dragon Age 4 without any unnecessary shenanigans, because I need to know what happens.
Oh, yeah.
So I've never played, I've never been a big video game player, but I started going to like a women's comic club. And everyone there was like, oh my God, you need to play Dragon Age. To which I was like, do I really need to do this? But my partner's quite excited. He said that I would really like it because it's story driven, and that he would do all of the boring battles for me.
Nice.
Yeah, I love Dragon Age. I love Mass Effect, but Dragon Age is like, so I will also be very upfront. My experience with Dragon Age is a little different than how a lot of people experience, because I essentially played the games backwards. Because I didn't do video games growing up. And so my first system was a PS4, and I played Inquisition first. And then I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I want to play the others. And EA didn't have a Mac port for Origins, but they did have a Mac port for Dragon Age 2, so I played that one next. And then I only finally played Origins when I found a used PS3 for a really good price. So like I know someone who's like playing through it the first time, and like they got really attached to a certain character who like I kind of got attached to. But I knew they had done something like really bad, and because I had played Dragon Age, I had played them in backwards order. So I'm like, I'm waiting for you to do something. I don't know what it is, but I am waiting. Yeah, Dragon Age is great. I love it. You're gonna have fun. Tell me all your feelings. The Dwarf Noble origin is the best origin. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules.
Well, I am looking forward to trying it. I've really never played any video games. It's not like it. Like we had an N64, and then I was like 7 and eventually stopped, and we were in favor of reading. But I'm looking forward to trying it. I've been promised good things.
I don't, but there's a lot of cool fan art on Tumblr. So,
and I think, and like the thing is with BioWare games in particular, like there is a lot of good things where you can do where your partner, like you can make so many choices, and having someone do the combat is like a good way to do it.
Yeah, he's a keeper.
But yeah, tell me all your feelings, because if you want spoilers, tell me, but I will do my best not to spoil you, because
I appreciate the effort.
I have a lot of feelings about certain characters.
My cats are just like they've been out for hours, which is funny because they were just chasing each other around, like had a real bad case of the zoomies.
I have no cat today because I had to be in the kitchen recording a thing. So the cat is in my office sleeping, but I can't be there because, where I record and where John records videos for work is share a wall. So we can't actually, it's impossible to both record in the same space. So I'm in the kitchen, which is good because there's like a radiator behind me, and that is really nice.
Yeah, I'm thinking at this point, so with the little time that I have left for the readathon, I'm going to finish The Forgotten Beasts of Eld. I have Raven Tower on audio, and then I'm thinking about subbing out the Marge Piercy book I was going to read for a novella.
What class was that? The Marge Piercy book that you were going to read? Was in it or?
It was to fulfill read a book set in the future.
Oh yeah.
So I can totally do that, and I just got approved for a bunch of Tor.com e-arcs.
Oh, nice. Anything exciting?
I got the Silver in the Woods.
Okay.
Which is one that it's caught my eye because I have a secret love of Green Man and the Green Man myth. And it's supposed to play with that, which is fun and not common.
Yeah, I've got actually a list somewhere of what I was going to do for what class, although I'm not, where did I put it? There you go. Because I've done herbology, that was Aquacorn Cove, and then let's see, I've done Defense Against the Dark Arts because I just read Red Sister, and Divination, which is a future one I've just restarted / now finished, Record of a Spaceborne Few, and like cried like a baby, and then I just don't know, what do you get for I'm reading that in Witchcraft for Charms because that's adult. That's another one that's like, just very wide, but I picked that in Witchcraft for it because I was reading that at the beginning of the month, and it doesn't really go for anything else. It feels a bit weird to be putting that in Witchcraft for Muggle studies, because even though it is a contemporary book that is set now, it's also like not about Muggles. We had this whole conversation online before. This is why Brie is cracking up, but I was just like, can I do it or not? It's not in the spirit of the rules. So there you go. What do you get with Charms, Defense Against the Dark Arts, Divination, and Herbology? That's a shit job that you get, I'm gonna assume. So I've got to like figure it out because I've got to, to be fair, I'm just going to pick stuff and then I'm going to start things before the end of the month and then finish them and then count it because who cares? So that I can do what I want in August, but I need to go through and find like a job that doesn't want too many hours. And that
you should look. Brock made, of course, a spreadsheet for
obviously
the readathon that has like, I have these owls done. What can I be?
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah,
that's very good.
He is the king of the spreadsheets, so I appreciate his entire existence.
Yeah, he is.
Oh dear. Okay.
No, don't yawn. Not a thing we get to do. I won't follow.
Me? Okay. I'm sorry, okay? I have corn plague.
Oh no, not con plague.
Well, I don't know, because the last day of the convention, well, look, what happened is I didn't sleep enough. And that was a contributing factor. Convention, I had to duck out of the panel because I was feeling like I was going to be sick. And I had to duck out in the middle of a panel. And then later I ran into the moderator of the panel who totally saw me and identified me running out of her panel. So that was great. And then I was feeling really, really fuzzy, and I had to like order a taxi home because I was like, I can't actually deal with being on the underground for like the amount of time, you know. It was great. And then I just slept for a long time, and I thought it would be fine, but now I have a cold, so config.
I'm sorry that you were not feeling well.
Oh, that's all right. Just like, this is a very chill live stream to do if you're not feeling great, you know?
Yeah, this is true.
Anyway. Oof.
I'm a little bummed that I know that I'm going to have to sub out books because I had an ambitious TBR. And
Yeah.
Yeah, I've subbed out like Care of Magical Creatures twice, and I still haven't done it, but like initially it was going to be like a really long Kate Elliott book, and then it was going to be Blanca y Roja by Anna Marie McClelmore.
Yeah.
And then now I'm like, well, there's a Marie Brennan novella from Tor.com that has a jaguar on the cover, so I'm just going to do that.
I mean, I picked Monstrous for that because that has a fox on the cover.
Yeah,
I mean, a fox with several tails still counts, right?
Yeah. And I mean, I chose one of the new Ms. Marvel trades for my potions because I'm like, that's a sequel. I can knock that out real quick.
I did Saga Volume 9 for adult work.
That counts.
Yeah. By the way, like, break your heart. That volume is rough.
And we have to wait a year to get more.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, but Monstrous is actually quite good because you could do, and I was trying to do Raven Tower for Kel because it's got a raven, which I don't know if that's a land animal because it does have wings, but whatever. You could in fact do Monstrous 1, Care of Magical Creature, because it's got a fox on the cover. Then Monstrous 2, Arithmancy, because it's got 2 authors. And then Monstrous 3, Potions, because it's a sequel, which is my safety plan. If I completely run out and I just want to have a nice evening reading nothing but Monstrous, I have to do that.
I'm into that, though.
Well, the thing is, okay, so tomorrow, so normally I don't work Mondays because normally I work Tuesday to Saturday, but like it's just with the convention and with the Dublin 2019 staff weekend coming up, like it's just a weird couple of weeks. So I'm working tomorrow, but also tomorrow is the longest episode of this season of Game of Thrones. So I have to watch an hour and 20 minutes of Game of Thrones so I don't get spoiled somewhere with like my breakfast and whatever. And then after that, I have to do like a full work day. and then, you know, somewhere maybe get some reading done. But I'm not, you know, I can't delay the Game of Thrones because it's the one with the giant battle as well. And, you know, you're gonna get told who dies if you don't watch it straight away. I mean, if you've all seen that article about spoilers and like the spoiler phobia that we have going on right now in pop culture and how that's not necessarily very good, I very much agree with that. I think if just telling me who dies in one episode of Game of Thrones ruins the episode, then you should have just written it better. But I still don't want the spoilers if I can avoid them.
Right. Like, you only get to watch something for the first time once.
Mm-hmm.
And I was spoiled for some previous big Game of Thrones things. If you're thinking about one of them, that's the one I'm talking about. So I was spoiled for that, and that sucked. But then I should, not. Yeah, I was just looking at some fandom stuff. I was just looking at some like fan art and fan theories and like fan stuff, and people don't label their shit properly.
When are you going to go see Endgame?
I saw Endgame on the first showing that it was available, except for the midnight showing because I'm old. I saw Endgame at like 11 in the morning on Thursday.
I think I knew that, actually.
I mean, I have many thoughts, but then I don't know if people have like. I mean, look, non-spoilery thoughts is that I really, really liked it. With any MCU movie, for me, like I always love them when I'm in the theater. There's been barely an exception to that. Even the ones that I don't actually like, I always enjoy in the theater. They're great at spectacle. I really enjoyed this one in the theater. It was very funny. Like I think one of the most interesting things about the MCU is that people have very differing opinions about the different parts of the franchise depending on what kind of fan they are. I think in transformative fandoms and in fan fiction, fan art, like fandoms, there's a lot of people will put Winter Soldier as some of their favorite, or as like the movie where they were the most fanishly acted. Like that's when the fandom was like on overdrive, for specifically the MCU. And so I feel like a lot of people who are in MCU transformative fandom will not like some of the stuff that happens at the end of this movie, because when you're watching the movie, it makes you cry. And when you get out of the movie, you go like, this makes no sense at all.
So, okay, I think
contradicts all of the character building in all the other movies. I'm done.
So Kay, I think, had the best description for what you're talking about, Claire, where she's like, she used the gif from Clueless, where it's like, it's a full-on Monet. When you're like standing back, it looks really great, but the closer you get, the messier it is. And like, after seeing Endgame myself, I agree. There were a lot of things I really liked. There are two characters who the Russos did real dirty. I have feelings about that that I will not talk about right now.
I mean, look, it's an actual spoiler to say that Avengers Endgame is a time travel movie, because, comic book movies, half of everybody's dead. They're gonna be brought back because it's a fucking comic book movie. And so that's the way you do it, right? I genuinely will fight you. I don't think that's a spoiler. And also, look, time travel is hard to do well. Sometimes you do time travel and it's like, well, this does it. And it's one of these occasions. Time travel, it doesn't super.
I had thoughts about a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yes. I also thought about you at the end of it, Claire.
Yeah. Look, I mean, the thing is, it made me cry with happiness, that ending, when I was in the theater, but like, it makes no sense, And I think it was so close to but they pushed it. And I think if you have an actual think about what it means in terms of like the timeline, you will see that actually like it is so tragic. And what it says in a meta sense, if you look at, what it is that we consider to be a happy ending, is quite troublesome. What for the character that is literally a metaphor for America. So that's my thoughts. Let's please talk about something else. Not get anyone in trouble, because like I'm trying so hard.
Sorry.
Sorry,
what to put you on the spot.
So something different. How about the Rise of Skywalker trailer? I still have a lot of feelings. Oh my god. I literally shrieked when Palpatine's cackle happened and scared my cat. And I was watching the live stream, and then Ian McDermott was there, and he's like, "Roll it again" in his Palpatine voice, and I shrieked again. And oh my god, I'm so excited.
I watched that whole live stream after you were so excited about it. It was great.
So, Stephen Colbert, it should have been Warwick Davis, because Warwick Davis is an excellent interviewer.
Yeah. Also, they should have given Lando Calrissian in a bloody chair that he could sit in. That was disgraceful.
Yeah. But I'm so excited that my kiddos are back. Naomi Aki is a delight, and I'm so happy for her. And when everyone was chanting for Kelly Marie Tran, I started tearing up, because like she deserves all the nice things in the world.
Yeah, and internet fandom has done her pretty dirty.
Yeah. So I'm very excited. And then also they premiered the new trailer for the final episodes of the Clone Wars, which, oh my god, I'm so excited about. I need to do a full rewatch of that show, because it's been ages since I've seen some of the episodes, and I love Star Wars so much.
It's so cool.
And then there's like this big secret publishing thing that's Project Luminous that they teased at the end of the publishing roundtable on Monday, and the authors that they have are so good. Oh my god, they got Justina Ireland and Claudia Gray, whose Star Wars books always make me cry. Daniel Jose Older, whose Last Shot was fantastic. Kevin Scott, whose stuff I haven't really read, but I've heard good things about, like his comics, and he's doing he did an audio drama about Count Dooku that's dropping on Tuesday. And then Charles Soule, whose stuff is also really good. So like, it's a really good lineup. I'm so excited.
Did you say Zoraida Cordova as well?
Yeah, so she's doing the Galaxy's Edge YA tie-in.
Okay.
But this is like this big secret Lucasfilm publishing thing that's coming in 2020. And so the only thing we know right now is the title and the 5 creatives involved.
You said Zoraida Cordova, right? That's who you're
so she's doing so they're doing like a series of like Galaxy's Edge tie-in. So there's a comic book series that just started dropping, and then Delilah Dawson is doing the adult novel. And then Zoraida Cordova is doing the YA novel. And I'm really excited for the adult novel too, because 2 characters from Delilah Dawson's Phasma novel are coming back. And I'm really excited to see them again.
I've been so impressed with what Disney's decided to do. Or I guess is it Disney Publishing?
So it's a combination. So a lot, like the YA and middle grade and kid stuff is all under Disney Publishing, but the adult stuff is under Del Rey.
Yeah.
And so like, if you want to like, one of the editors for Star Wars Del Rey, Tom, is on Twitter as Darth Internus. And he's a good follow, and he will post pictures of his cats. They're the interns, and one of his cats is named Lando, and Lando loves wearing capes.
Oh my god.
It is a delight.
What's his handle?
Darth Internus.
Follow.
This is the important information right now.
Yeah, Lando is great. I love Lando. But yeah, and then it's not all great with Star Wars stuff though, because there's that. Did you guys see the really gross thing that happened with the comics this week?
Oh no, please explain.
Okay. So last year, last year, Chuck Wendig was supposed to write this mini series about Darth Vader and like different people's perceptions of him, both good and bad. And then he went on a rant about Kavanaugh, and right-wing trolls picked it up, and they blew it out of proportion, and then he was essentially fired.
Yeah.
And the editor was like, keep it quiet. It's like, have you met Chuck Wendig?
I know, right?
And so then, like, maybe a month or 2 after his series got canceled, they announced a new Darth Vader series called Darth Vader Dark Visions by Dennis Hopeless, who I do not like because he wrote a really shitty series called Avengers Arena where he's like, hey, let's take all these well-known like teenage superheroes and do like a battle royale and where I'm going to kill a bunch of them. Yeah, I'm still mad about that. It's like 6 years later. Anyway, so since then I don't trust him as a writer. And so I like hadn't really heard anything about the first 2 issues. Some people I know didn't really like them all that much. And then the third one dropped this week. And it's about this unnamed med tech in the Empire who like has this really like fascination with Vader, and it's like really gross, and it's like very unsympathetic for her and played for laughs, and it ends with Vader killing her. There's an entire thread about just breaking down like how gross it is. And like there's a whole subset of like fandom where it's like the woman who falls in love with Vader, and like there might have been a way to write it, like especially if it had been a woman writing it, where it was sympathetic towards the person, but like Hopeless didn't even name her. It was really gross. It was so gross. And he's like, oh, well, I was just, trying to like interrogate something. It's like, bro, like you didn't even try. And like just all the different like all the people who had to have it approved. And it was just so gross. It was so gross.
I saw a couple of panels on Twitter and it was like, oh, he dropped a like wrapper of here's some litter that he dropped. It must be a message for me. Like it literally read like that one time that Neville's mom kept giving him gum wrappers. But it's like, yeah, but that's Anyway, it seemed very abusive.
Yeah, it was like the entire thing was so gross, and it very much read like it was poking fun at fangirls, and which like didn't help matters. And so yeah, that was it, like it was just really bad. And like also the editor who fired Chuck is still there, and he found it fine to fire Chuck, but he still follows a big Comic Gates person who like will buy figures of Rose Tico and burn them because he's a gross asshole.
Well, didn't they say like basically the whole Chuck Wendig thing blew up after like a very specific alt-right person like tweeted about him, and they've basically like they can't be sure, and obviously they're not say allegedly and all of that, but basically like that the is it who's the person at the head of who's like really right wing
or something?
Yes, Perlmutter. Thank you. I didn't want to say because I wasn't sure, and also allegedly.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, it's just the entire thing was really gross, and it burned a lot of goodwill that people might have had towards the Star Wars. And because like the editor team for the Star Wars comics like used to be really cool. They had like actual women, like Heather Antos was on the editor team and she was great. And yeah, it was really gross.
Ooh.
I'm over a lot of parts of the internet.
Word.
I am though in like brighter news.
Oh yeah.
I am making a table for my backyard. It is going to be an obnoxious I Spy table that I am filling with fun trinkets, covering in glitter, and then pouring resin over to seal it.
Wait, so define an I Spy table. I'm not sure what that means.
Did you ever play I Spy as a kid?
Oh man, I'm aware of it.
Yeah, like the I Spy books where it's just a picture of like jumbled stuff and you're supposed to find things in it.
Oh, I thought you meant the card game where you like, occupy. You have to go like I Spy something with like various letters.
Oh, no. So it's kind of like a Where is Waldo of junk.
Oh, okay.
So I've like collected a bunch of like gnomes and like skeleton trinkets and
gnomes.
I love gnomes.
Okay.
And a bunch of stuff that I am like filling this like reservoir of a table with, and then I'm going to cover it in glitter and
I mean,
cover
it sounds really cool.
It's going to be obnoxious. My whole goal is to have an obnoxious backyard, and I succeed at it for the most part. I have the world's most patient neighbors. I don't know why they put up with me.
They think the chickens are cute.
They do think the chickens are cute. They think the chickens are cute, and like I'm not scared of it when I eventually go and ask them if I can have backyard bees. They're going to be totally fine with that.
You're very fortunate you don't live next to me, because I would veto the backyard bees. I am terrified of them.
Yes, that's fair.
Like they are fine. They should be allowed to live just far, far away from me.
I'll put some pictures up of like some of the stuff that's gonna go in my obnoxious backyard table.
Cool.
Yeah. It's covered right now. The base, I just finished coating the base in a black glitter paint. I've been having a really good time with it.
Yeah, I made a table one time when I was at uni that was like that was covered crap like kind like basically collage
Mm-hmm.
however you say that, but basically it was like stuff that I'd printed off that was like cool pictures. Basically it was just like one of those here's shoes with a bunch of like comic book pages pasted on them, but with a table.
Do you want to come say
And
hi?
that was fun.
You want to come say hi? Wally is here.
Hello.
Oh, did it scare you? Did it scare you? So Wally just snorts. I've heard her meow a handful of times in her whole life. She's like 2 years old now.
Mm.
And she can only snort. And so we call her Snort Butt a lot. How's your gardening going, Rachel?
Slowly. I tried to plant peas and most of them haven't come up, and I'm not sure why. And I started seedlings like tomatoes and peppers, kale, and some broccoli, I think. And the tomatoes are just dying. And I thought it was just me. My parents had the same problem where like the seedlings come up and they've got those two little leaves on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're supposed to get the secondary set of leaves, which is what actually looks like tomato leaves, but they get stuck. I forget the name for those type of leaves, but it just sits there and then they turn yellow and then they die. They never get any bigger. And I was really worrying about it. My parents think it's killer compost. It's basically your soil mixture has manure in it, and there's like probably an insecticide or something coming through in the manure, so it's killing it. I don't know. So I went out and I bought tomato plants for the first time in my life rather than growing them from seed. So they will go out probably next weekend when I'm sure it's not going to freeze again. But yeah,
I wonder if it's a nitrogen problem in the soil.
I don't know. I really don't know, because I use the same potting soil for everything else, and everything else is growing except for the tomatoes, and I don't know. So I'm holding out hope that some of them might still come through, because I really want my Opalka tomatoes. They're the really huge, fleshy paste tomatoes. We'll see. But yeah, I need to get out and plant more stuff in the garden next weekend. And we'll see what happens. But my garden is a mess. All of my raised beds, all the wooden frames are rotting out. And I'm like, I don't want to replace garden beds this year. Those things are expensive and they're really heavy. And I don't want to lift heavy things. I've already hurt myself one too many times this year. So I don't know. Are you doing a garden this year?
Yes, but it's one of those things where, because it's Minnesota and it literally was supposed to snow this weekend. I can't start it yet.
Yeah.
Someone is suggesting neem oil, which I've heard about for like plant rot, and I think aphids.
Yeah, I've heard about using it for aphids before. I've never actually used anything on my tomatoes for pests. Usually we get the blossom end rot, which happens when there's a drought and they don't get watered enough. And we've had pests in the past, but not aphids. So I've never used anything. I don't like using insecticides, and I've used diatomaceous earth before. Never had any luck with it on like squash.
Yeah. Well, it stops working once it gets like wet because it clumps into larger
Yeah,
particles.
you have to continually reapply it.
Yeah.
I'm a lazy gardener, so my stuff dies.
Sorry, Rachel, do you like, presumably it's a garden operation where you just garden and then eat your stuff, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's like, sorry, I'm like listening wrapped with attention because I live in London and no one has a garden for one thing, or few people. I don't know.
That makes me
I've never had it. I've not really ever had a garden, and even when it's, I don't know. I don't garden. I'm a city person. It's all very like weird and delightful.
I've heard a lot of people say they want to try like doing gardening in pots.
Mhm.
Yeah.
In the city. My problem is I can't keep things alive when they're in pots. I can only keep things alive when they're in the actual ground. Like every year I start things from seeds, and like I have my little pots under the grow lights in the basement, and I'm counting down the days until I can transplant them because they do nothing until I actually get them in the ground.
The only pots that I have luck with are terracotta, and it's only for indoor plants. Because
Yeah,
then I can
I feel
regulate
like
how much water they need.
I used to have indoor plants. I used to have an African violet that died last year. And I had a little tree plant thing. I can never remember what it was called, and that died over the winter. So now and then I had a Dieffenbachia. I love Dieffenbachia plants. But guess what? That one died too.
This makes me sad because I imagine you in like a living room filled with books and like houseplants.
I don't know.
I'll take care of the
I've
houseplant.
never been good with houseplants. I do have an aloe vera plant, which is still alive. It's very hardy. It's very hard to kill for some reason. So
Yeah.
this is basically my philosophy for gardening in general. I only grow things that flourish under benign neglect. If I can't stick it in the ground, water it occasionally, and do nothing else, then I'm not growing it.
So fun times. EasterCon the other weekend, and one of the guests of honor was Frances Hardinger, who like she was just okay. I was just hanging out in the con space, like looking for people holding a drink, and this person who I was pretty sure was Frances Harding because the look and the hat and that, like, comes up and starts doing small talk, and like 20 minutes in, I'm like glancing down to make sure I'm not gonna like to find that they're Frances Harding and then there's somebody else, and it was definitely her. And so we just had this lovely conversation that like just started as small talk because we were both like looking for people and not finding people we knew. And like then some people started arriving and whatever, and it just morphed into a bigger conversation. It was fine, but we did talk about plants, and she was telling me about friends of hers who had a plant that just never died, and like it underwent so much benign neglect that they started thinking, is it possible to kill this plant? And like actually tried, and it didn't work, and then they like got spooked and stopped trying because they were like, this plant like is immortal and can never die, and they named it Rasputin.
Yes.
Then I told her about poor dead Venus flytrap, which I failed to grow to a ripe old age. Because Venus flytraps are hard to, they're genuinely hard. They need to like have freeze-dried worms and stuff. You need to feed them with tweezers. It's pretty cool. But yeah, it died because they're hard to keep, and you have to put them in the fridge for winter so they can hibernate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which would be totally fine here in Minnesota. I could just toss them in the basement.
Yeah, you can do that if it's like cool enough and it's going to be constant. But I was just like thinking, like if it survives until winter, what are the odds I can actually convince John that it's okay to have a Venus flytrap in the fridge because he is freaked out by them, and it would never have gone through.
We were trying to open the door, like, oh my god!
No, because literally this plant was sent to us as a joke gift by a friend of John's who heard that John hates Venus flytraps, and I was like, "Give it to me!" But yeah, someone suggested leaving it in the fridge for the winter and then just like moving it to different shelves of the fridge when John wasn't looking, which I think is genius.
Funny. Somebody's asking about lavender, which I love. You can't really get it to perennialize in Minnesota.
Mm-hmm. I'm from the south of France, so I just can't deal with lavender. There's just too much of it everywhere.
The zone that I live in, we're like right on the boundary, I think, where lavender and rosemary can sort of overwinter, but if it's a harsh winter, they just die. But I'm planting lavender, my second attempt at it this year. I got a nice big plant. I thought I would try it again because I tried some years ago, so I thought it would just be a nice addition to the herb garden, and like bugs or something ate it. I came back like a couple days later and it was just turned to dust. It was so weird. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, I grew up in Northern California and my mom's ripped out our lawn and put in gardens instead. And we had lavender and rosemary on the side, and they just overran that area of the yard. It was everywhere.
Yeah, my grandmother is from Anaheim, and some of my favorite memories as a kid is like trying to climb up the big hill in her backyard that was just filled with lavender. I wish it would grow here. What I'm looking forward to next is lilac season.
The bees would like it too.
My lilacs are this close to blooming.
You know what you have to do? You have to make I make a blackberry lilac jam that is a joy in the winter. And there's lilacs, you can make lilac jam itself. And it's like it tastes the way it smells.
Ooh.
So like when everything is cold and icky and snowy, you can pull it out and it's like having just a bite of spring.
You know, I almost bought a blackberry plant last weekend. I've been wanting to plant blackberries for years, but I need to talk to my neighbor because I want to put do
a hedge against the terrible neighbor children.
No, this is the neighbor I like. But actually, like, I have this feeling that my vegetable garden is not going to go very well this year. So I'm throwing all my energy into getting like shrubs and flowers and stuff to finally do landscaping around my house, because I put that off. I mean, I've lived in this house for 8 years and I've never planted things up against the house because I was like, I'm going to have it re-sided. I'm going to get new windows. I don't want anything to be trampled. But that happened last summer. So I'm like, I can plant things now. And I went out and I got like 6 bushes and shrubs last weekend. And yes, some of the ones that I'm planting on the side with the neighbors, they're spiky. They've got thorns.
They have to have like don't they have at least like one quiet child? Like one who likes to read or something.
One who's like gonna move out eventually. Yeah.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I've planted a lot of bushes, and I'm like, I want to like fast forward a couple of years for when it's all filled in and I can see what it'll actually look like, because it's just these little itty bitty clumps of things. I've put tomato cages around them so my neighbor doesn't mow them over.
Your neighbor mows over into your lawn?
No, I pay him to mow my lawn.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
Yeah, but he doesn't always know what's
that's just
what's not.
I don't have to worry about it either. That's nice.
Yeah. But yeah, my goal is to eventually have no more lawn. I want to get rid of all the grass, and the next step in doing that is to start planting all the bushes, and my lilac hedge will take up a lot of space, and I've got trees in now. So
I'm trying to decide. So last year I put mushroom spore in my garden so that like mushrooms pop up naturally among the rest of the crops, which is awesome. And I'm thinking, so for the chickens, I have to like insulate their coop with big bales of hay. And I'm thinking of using those to do some almond agaricus, which is like a really weird almond smelling and almond flavored mushroom.
okay.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time on the internet looking at fungus.
I think mushrooms look amazing, but I hate eating them, which is when you're mostly vegan and you don't like mushrooms, that's a problem.
You good with nuts though?
Oh yeah, I love nuts.
I don't know. Your plates always look delicious. Like everything you eat always looks so tasty when you put pictures of it up.
Give me all the tofu. I love tofu.
I'm just starting the bit of my pattern where the pattern is called There and Back Again, and it's like got these chevrons that go in that go there and then back again, like that are in two directions. And I'm just starting the bit of the pattern where the chevrons, which are made of like little holes that are gonna go. You know.
That's kind of like the knitting equivalent of like this.
Yeah. It's exactly like that. But yeah, so it's really simple as well. Like it looks very impressive, but it's actually a bunch of like knitting two
knit two together
and then yarn over. Exactly. See, like I've never really done anything like that because like the soothing motion of just knitting, you know, like I love doing the wrong side of this because you just purl the whole row and you don't really think about it. And so I've, for a long time, anytime I picked up a project, it was just like, what can I do that's just a wall of knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So I'm venturing now into like cooler things.
That's fun. I have for a long time, I have the PDF of the Harry Potter knits, like the unofficial Harry Potter knits. And there's one it's like a Luna Lovegood cardigan that's supposed to have a bunch of like intentionally dropped stitches.
Oh, I can't deal with that.
I want to so bad because it looks super cute. But I don't know that I can bring myself to do it. I also get so lost so easily. Like I would put it down and be like, I can't remember what row I'm on now.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm like just marking on my, just make everything move. I'm just marking on my pattern whenever I'm done with a row. Because I can't. And like every row is different now, so I don't have a pen right now, and so I'm just like, ooh, I'm gonna get lost.
You can do it.
Well, you know when you get to the end of the row and it says do this pattern until the last like 8 stitches.
Yeah.
And I do it, and then there's 7 left. And it's like when you build an IKEA shelf and you've got like one peg left and you don't know where it comes from. Because I'm looking at this, I can see there are no drops. It's something to do with the little border, which has a bunch of like yarn over and stuff like that. Like it has a bunch of,
Yeah.
The side of it. And whatever. It looks fine.
When I had to rely when I was doing my my Star Wars scarf a couple of years ago, I had to rely on lifelines in my knitting so that I could just pull to a certain spot where I knew I was right. And like I think I ripped that scarf apart like 6 times. It looked really good at the end.
I've already undone like several, because it's the thing is with the sides of it, it's like really easy to see if you have done it wrong, because this is like anyway, I have undone it already a few times. I'm telling my, because I'm kind of relearning to knit or learning to actually knit like properly. But yeah, I've already undone it a bunch, and I've already fixed a couple of like, oh, there's one stitch less. Let's insert a very discreet extra stitch in between those two.
That's what I do when I'm crocheting. I hate ripping stuff out, so I'll just slightly modify it and then try to later.
I mean, it's so silly, because it's one of those things where, like, of course, when you're doing it and you're right with your nose up front to it, you see it and stuff. But it's like, if you are like when it's done, the thing is so much bigger, you actually see it. But I used to have the same problem when I would like, back in my wild youth, when I was into Warhammer tabletop, and I would like paint things, and it's like, yeah, I mean, when you're like looking at it like that, like,
Yeah.
and then you put it on the table and there's like 20 exactly the same, and you're like, yes, I can see you notice different things.
That's funny though.
Anywho.
Did I mess this up? You can't see this, but did I mess this up? 4, 3, yep. I maybe messed this up a long way ago.
Oh no! I hate that.
Where do you live, little drop stitch? Self.
No. No.
Or I'm just missing a stitch, and I've been missing it the whole time and not noticing. That would be like me. Hello, yes. My kitty bug is here.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Ooh.
Say, my name is Soren, and I am purring right now. Because it doesn't take much to get him to purr. He's a happy baby. Yeah. And a Tubberton, but.
And a what now?
A Tubberton.
Mm-hmm.
So he's chunky. I don't know. Anything else we wanted to talk about?
What are people looking forward to? Because I was good. I'm so behind on like videos to make, seriously. Like the next thing in my, I mean, I have so many things that I like. I've got 2 vlogs, and then like I need to do another like 2 book hauls or whatever, just for stuff that I've got. And I put one out last night. I've got so many things. I was going to try and do a most anticipated list of books like every quarter, but now it's the end of April, so I don't know that I can do a Q2 anticipated because a full third of those books were in April. So I'm like, yeah, I have so much content that I need to try. But aside from,
I
aside
have
from,
I have some stuff waiting to be edited that's like uploaded to my computer that I just haven't done. And I definitely need to do a book haul. Definitely need to do that. But like I got through the point where like I had edited all of that footage for my The Moon is a Harsh Mistress video, and I was like, I just need to not look at raw footage for a little while and like not see myself make these faces that I always make.
your faces are delightful, darling.
Thank you. And then I have to start reading Malka Older's Infomocracy because that's the next one I'm doing for that series. So
It sounds like such a cool series, though.
I mean, I'm trying at the very least to make it an informative series. I don't know that it's, feels a little niche, but that's okay. Niche,
Yeah,
and
no, I mean, it feels like it's my kind of niche, is what I'm saying.
yeah.
Shocking. That's your political ideology in SFF series, right? Yes.
Yeah. What about you, Rachel? What's coming up your pipeline?
I have no idea. I don't really have a list of stuff to make right now, but that's probably because I just haven't sat down and thought about it hard enough. I actually filmed a tag video for the first time in 2 years.
Oh, please tell me it's the BookTube Real Talk tag.
Yes, it is.
Yes! I want to do that. I want to do that too.
Okay, so I personally am not really big on the what do they call that? Spilling the tea?
Yeah.
Yes, that is what the youth say.
Just it gets under my skin. I'm not so big on the whole let's elevate all of this to, shade and spilling tea and being snarky.
No, but I like process. I like hearing about process.
Yeah. So I took the I'm going to be honest tact and not the trying to stir up drama type of things. I've seen some people who did versions of that tag where I was like, okay, I'm not gonna watch this. This is just trying to start some drama.
Oh, that's funny. I haven't really. Most of the ones I've seen have just been like, interesting insights in like how people approach making things.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, so you, Rachel, tweeted recently about like just making things and how long it takes, and I can't remember exactly what it was that you said, but like it was so same. It was so it just like rang, and also it's that thing where a lot of the time for me anyway, when I feel like a bit discouraged because there's too many things, because I don't have time to make stuff, I'm making stuff later or whatever, like it can feel like it can very much feel like, oh, it's just me or whatever, and it's like very cathartic to see other people like mentioning that.
Yeah. I think I probably don't talk enough about just behind the scenes and my own experience with things, but that's because in general I like to keep that sort of stuff private. I don't feel like burdening my audience with my my stresses or my struggles or whatever. Just that's always been my kind of approach to the whole thing. But
I think a lot of the time, well, for me, I think a lot of the time I like make it bigger than it is in my head, and I like assume that, there's almost that assumption that like you need to. My immediate instinct is to give all the explanations in the world when like people don't really care about that, to be honest, like as big of a deal as I see it, and
yeah, absolutely. I do this thing very frequently where while I'm filming, I usually vent about things and I talk about it and I give my excuses and all that sort of stuff. And then I just edit it out of the final video where I'm sitting there watching it for the 10 millionth time thinking, you know what? I'm just going to delete that part. Nobody needs to hear that.
I kind of now want like a blooper reel of your rant. Like, like that sounds kind of amazing.
I have edited out a lot of opinions over the years, let's say. Just usually just decide, you know what? I'm not gonna go there. Nobody needs to know that. But I know that's exactly the stuff that people want to see eventually, but I'm like, you know, I am really serious when I say I'm a very private person sometimes.
But like also, you know, it's an editorial choice that you're making, and it's a valid editorial choice. Like,
yeah. I think that's actually like, you know, every once in a while there are those tags that are like, you know, let's give advice to people who are new, who are doing booktube for the first time or whatever. Yeah. And usually one of the things that I want to tell people is you can craft your own persona with your editing. You decide what you want people to see about you. And some people take that to the extreme. I take it to the extreme. I heavily edit my videos. And it all comes down to, you know, what do I want people to know about me? Some of it is for privacy and safety's sake. Like I edit out things where like I accidentally say something about, you know, personal details that
obviously you have to do that. Like, that's
that.
really
But then
sometimes that some people don't, you know.
I'm
just like, I'm not gonna like be creepy and come to your door, but like, you know, sometimes someone says something. No, but sometimes someone says something in a video and I'm like, if I were a creepy person, I could, you know, check this bit and that bit and that bit and that bit, you know, like
it's so easy to do. Yeah.
Like, you know, when I worked in, one of my like thoughts that was recurring was, you know, if people go to my LinkedIn and see the address of my office, like they can like just come to my office at like clock out time, you know, and that's creepy.
Yeah.
Think about
like, part of me has to be like at some point I try to tell myself, like, if somebody really wanted to do that, right, they're gonna find a way. Like, I don't have to, like, I'm not gonna give them more footholds than they need, but like if somebody was gonna be creepy and show up at my door, I suspect that they would be able to find out how to do that with whatever's already out there.
I mean, just don't let your partner start a massive YouTube channel is what I'm saying.
Like, although I almost accidentally posted on Instagram a picture of like my fridge, not realizing that like you can clearly read my address on some of the stuff on my fridge. And as I was going through about to post, I was like, oh no, not that.
Oh yeah. I have a problem with library materials because I read a lot of library books, but if you have high quality video and you put and in your library like has barcodes or addresses on the outside of the book, people can see that sometimes, even if you think that they can't. And I have this is how far I go. I have literally cut entire segments out of my videos because I'm like, I can't edit out the barcode. This has to go. And I'm not refilming the video.
Please stop walking on my keyboard. Thank you.
But anyway, yeah, I've finally filmed another tag video, and I have to edit it and see if it's any good. So
I've been meaning to, because I haven't watched a ton of the those tags, like that specific, like the behind the scenes, like booktube, whatever. I forget what it's called. I know exactly which one you're talking about.
The booktube Real Talk, I think.
Yeah, the booktube Real Talk. And I have like a list of them that I want to watch. And I think the first one I'm going to watch is probably the novel Lush.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. I say that and then watch me not watch any of them until yours pops up in my feed.
Yeah, I mean, I just basically started this because I was just like, I need to remind myself that I can't commit to doing, I can't like plan for, it's awful because I want to plan for things to happen at a specific time, like the, you know, specific quarterly video or whatever, or I want to like work with yes, send me a free book, I'll do a review. But I actually just like, I need to stop thinking that I can, because I never can. So I just never manage it.
I'm really bad about, like, I feel like anytime I say that I'm going to do something, I almost immediately never do that thing. Like,
yeah, it's like when you state your intent, you stop wanting to do that thing. Yeah.
I mean,
really,
I have that very much for like book reading, which is why I stopped. This is a large part of why I stopped doing any kind of TBR videos, because like as soon as I talk about wanting to read something, like my brain is very contrary and goes to the next thing. But also with videos, it's just like sometimes I just look around and I'm like, I haven't actually picked up a book for like a week and a half because it's been too busy making things and doing work and stuff. And it's like, if that's going to be the case, if that's going to continue to be the case, which it is, then I can't like promise people I'm going to be reading their material for review, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Gideon the Ninth is on my desk, and it has been calling my name for like 2 weeks now.
Oh my God. But that's like out later.
I keep thinking
it's out in like, I think, October.
I keep thinking it's going to come out very soon because everyone's talking about it, and then I'm reminded, oh yeah, it's like September or October.
You should reach out. They'll send you a copy.
Yeah.
I'll let you know what I think, and then you can decide if you want to reach out for a copy.
It's supposed to be quite dark, obviously, because it's about a necromancer.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Renee.
It sounds like it's going to be kind of funny though, because I read the description and I was like, yeah.
But yeah, Renee absolutely loved it.
Yeah, I was so jealous of her when she got her copy. I was like, oh my God, no. Stop telling me that you love it.
I was really good, and instead of buying Emma Newman's Atlas alone, because I'm still kind of on a book buying ban, I've requested it from the library. So that is what I'm most looking forward to, my library to get it and I can read it.
I was really bad, and I went and I was having a bad day. And then I wandered into the bookstore, and there went a lot of my well-budgeted, well-planned book buying for the year. Nope.
Yeah, this month has been shit for my book budget for a lot of different reasons.
I mean, I really just need to get around to doing like a Marie Kondo Your Bookshelves video, which, like, again, this is a trend that was around in like January. But I'm gonna have to do it at some point because I already had enough books to do 2 book hauls, and then I went to the Kitschies, and I went to EasterCon, and there were free books, and then I also bought some books there because I wanted Scalzi and Zencho to sign my books, so I had to buy books there. You know, but yeah, it's just like.
What are people most looking forward to reading in like the next couple months?
A Memory Called Empire.
Shit. I'm looking at library books.
Star Wars books,
but also Wonder Woman, the Hikeda by Greg Rucka and illustrated by J.G. Jones, which has been like my White Whale Wonder Woman comic for fucking ever, because none of my libraries have ever had it, and it's been out of print forever. And it's the one with that iconic panel of Wonder Woman standing with her foot on Batman's head saying, "Don't get up." And so my library here actually has it, so I have it checked out right now, and I'm very excited. But also I have an arc of Gods of Jade and Shadow, which I'm hoping to get to in May.
That's the new Sylvia Marina Garcia.
Yeah, like I already have it I had it pre-ordered, but they were giving away arcs at Emerald City Comic Con, so I grabbed one.
Nice.
And so I'm hoping to read it and maybe review it. I'm really bad at reviews.
I have a bunch of stuff on my whole like spare room is a mess and just filled with stacks and stacks of books. But I think Gideon the Ninth for me is the one that I'm most looking forward to, even though I know it's not going to come out for a while, so I can't like give all of the spoilery squeeze. But when I am able to, I will. Rachel, what are you looking forward to reading?
Somebody mentioned Ancestral Night in the chat, and actually that is really high up on my my
On your
TBR
list?
at the moment. I got it for my birthday, but I was so busy reading Owl's stuff, I let my dad borrow it, and he's returned it to me, and now I can read it.
That's the Elizabeth Bear, is it?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't actually know if I've read any science fiction by Elizabeth Bear. I was thinking about that. I've read her fantasy.
Yeah. I'm still always like baffled that because her partner is Scott Lynch, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it baffles me sometimes that like she is so like consistently prolific and producing and he is not.
I imagine they have really different approaches to writing.
Oh yeah, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Not to get into people's personal lives too much, but Scott Lynch has got, I think, issues with like anxiety and depression. And I get the feeling that that's been his major impediment in writing.
Yeah, I mean, he's talked about. Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I don't really want to speculate about that, but I if I recall correctly, he's like specifically discussed that. Yeah, I mean, this is the same. Like one of my favorite series that is still ongoing and that I don't know whether it's going to continue or not is The Throne of the Crescent Moon by Saladin Ahmed. That was beautiful, beautiful book. But again, he's talked about how his mental health has really affected like his ability to write the second book in that series.
I've heard good things about the comics that he's been doing.
Yeah.
I
One
do
of them's nominated.
What? Yeah, so Abbott was nominated, and then I've also heard really good things about like his Quicksilver mini. He did Exiles, which I need to pick up because they have Peggy Cap.
Oh yeah,
and a female Becky Barnes who gets with Valkyrie.
Nice.
He's also taking over the writing of the next Ms. Marvel series.
Yeah, and he's also currently writing Miles.
Yeah,
Morales.
I've only read his what was the one that he had that was nominated last year?
Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, exactly, yeah. Which, like, I don't know, I wasn't super fond of it because I don't really know the character, and it was very, like, first volume establishing, you know. But fine. I mean, it was very pretty. It was fine. It's a bit difficult sometimes to judge. Something like the Inhumans that's been going on for so long, like one kind of establishing volume that's a bit trippy. That's like, the entire volume is they escape from prison in a trippy manner.
I'm super excited. So G. Willow Wilson has a new comic that's coming out that I just picked up.
What's it called?
Let me see.
I feel like I've heard of this.
Invisible Kingdom.
Yes, and she's doing it with the guy who did art for Odyssey, which I love.
Christian Ward.
Christian Ward, yeah.
Ooh,
it's beautiful. I have a copy of the first volume or of the first issue in my living room right now, and I have been wanting to read it.
Oh, I'm also in comics really looking forward to the new Buffy series. I've read like the first issue to like just have a look at it, but I just don't really. I'm waiting to have trades. I just, something like a Buffy tie-in. They're not going to cancel it after like the first volume because no one's reading the floppies or whatever. So I'm waiting. It's really pretty. The reboot where it starts when it's a reboot using the original characters, but it starts when they're in high school, but it's been like moved forward to now because we're old, and the original Buffy, the original Buffy when they were in our high school is now like vintage or some shit. So anyway, they're all in school with like mobile phones and like looking hipstery and shit. And Willow's already out. And yeah, it's cool. Like they've got, the way the characters are introduced is a little bit all over the place. Like I think Drusilla is in the first like volume, like as a surprise reveal villain at the end of the first like floppy is like a really cool shot of Drew. Like, okay, well, I don't know what this is, but I'm into it. So I'm waiting for I think I'm going to be buying those because, they're pretty and I'm fandom trash. So.
Are you living, like, no one is living their best life if they are not also a little bit fandom trash.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying that with love.
Good. I'm just making sure we're moderating our tone about that.
Yeah. No, this is no, this is, I'm self-identifying. This is no self-talk.
Okay.
Just, I know where my tribe is at. Oh. Anyway.
I was gonna say, you have to be positive about fandom trash.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just trying not to yawn because you forbade me earlier.
Well, I do have to have rules. I don't know. At this point, I'm just looking forward to getting the Hugo voter packet.
Yeah.
I was just going to mention that. Like, I have this feeling that if it comes out in May, my entire month of May is just going to be reading for awards, reading for the Hugo Awards, reading for the Nebula Awards, and BookTube SFF Awards.
I need to get my supporting membership for the Hugos so I can actually vote this year, because this is the first time in a while that I'm not either super broke because of a shitty paying NGO job or I was in grad school.
Yeah. Di, are you thinking you're going to be able to do, it's a ways out, are you at all interested in doing DC 2021?
Yes, I am doing that because, one, I still have a ton of friends who live in DC and I want to try and get back there and, see them. And also just, I would like to go to a Worldcon.
This makes me happy.
Yeah, and like, it'll be fun.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of fandom trash,
I'm gonna, like, just so you know, I'm gonna be dragging everyone to like a bunch of different museums because DC is great in that, like, all the Smithsonian's are free.
Yep.
Nice.
And so, like, Air and Space Museum in particular is a ton of fun. The zoo's free, even though it's kind of a pain to get to. The only museum that I really like that isn't free is the Spy Museum.
Oh, yeah. Isn't
sounds cool.
the museum is not free either?
No, and that one is actually closing, unfortunately. Yeah, they sold the building to John Hopkins, and I don't know what's happening to the museum, which sucks because it's actually like a really cool building.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it.
I was just gonna say, speaking of fandom trash, I've kind of like come to the realization over the last couple of years that I'm just like, because I work from home, I just, but I'm very extroverted, like weirdly enough for a massive nerd. Like, so I've just decided that like I'm just, my fandom trashiness is conventions. I'm really into cons, and especially I'm really into. I mean, now that I've been to EasterCon, it was actually a really good con, and I will be going back, and that's really easy because it's within the UK, or within Great Britain. But like, I've just decided that I need to embrace the fact that I am Worldcon trash, and I am making tentative New Zealand plan, as in I am saving money that has New Zealand written on it right now. I don't know if it's going to actually happen because it would be so much time off work and stuff. But I have decided it is an acceptable way to spend my money if I can save enough money.
I would love to go to New Zealand for Worldcon. Just the idea of that many nerds descending on Middle Earth at once makes me very happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I definitely want to go do all the Tolkien stuff, but I also think it would. I feel like if I lived in a country and I mean, when you're foreign, when you live somewhere and you're foreign, and then you tell people where you're from, and then you get all the weird assumptions people have about a country, you kind of get a bit oversensitive about it. So I feel like I need to go to New Zealand. Specifically, I need to go to New Zealand, and when I leave New Zealand, I need to know more things about it than just the Tolkien shit.
Yes.
Because I feel bad.
If you'd asked me 10 years ago, oh, do you want to go to New Zealand and look at all the Middle Earth stuff? I would have been like, yes. But now I really, part of me is oh, dang, it's going to be in the winter.
Oh, yeah. That.
And okay. But I would much rather go to some national parks and walk around or something. It's a beautiful country, and I would rather just go do that rather than hit up all the Middle Earth Tolkien tourist traps.
What I am actually really, really excited about for it is that I think we'll have a really good, East Asian showing at New Zealand Worldcon, because it's pretty accessible from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just a side of fandom that, of SFF fandom, that we don't get to see, I think, enough of.
Mm-hmm.
Very true. But yeah, I mean, that's why, Rachel, that's why, I mean, that plus how long it takes to get there, but that's why I want to be able to take a decent chunk of time off, because if you go there, I just want to be able to have time to see. Aside from I'm definitely going to do the tourist trap. I'm going to give them all the tourist trap money that they need to go and see the stupid no admittance except party business door or whatever. I'm just gonna do that. That's it's not optional. But I just also want to be able to see other things as well. So it's just I work for a company of 2 people, so if I leave for a month,
that's a long time.
Yeah. And I'll miss the cat.
And like Joe said in the chat, the travel.
Oh yeah.
I'm nervous. I'm yeah. I mean, I'm nervous about going more than 4 hours away from my house, and Dublin is going to be a huge step up for me. And then, getting to New Zealand is a solid 24 hours of travel.
Yeah, it'll be exhausting.
I imagine I'm going to be absolutely exhausted when I arrive in Dublin, and that's only an 11, 12-hour flight, the second leg there. But yeah, New Zealand. I'm mainly worried about the expenses, though. I'm pretty sure I can come up with enough vacation time for it, but it's expensive. There's a reason why they have special Worldcon funds to send fans to and from New Zealand and stuff.
Yeah. It's something that I definitely if I'm committing, it's I have to be starting to put away the money now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm not doing New Zealand. My fandom trash is Star Wars and Celebration 2020 is in Anaheim. And so I'm already making plans to go with a bunch of with my dad, and also like meet up with a bunch of like Star Wars Twitter friends.
That's cool.
And my sister might come as well. We're figuring out logistics because they haven't announced a date yet. But I already know I'm going.
One day we will have to meet at Star Wars Land.
Yes. I'm actually going in November. We had already been planning a family trip to Walt Disney World, and Galaxy's Edge is going to be open at that point. And like, I know the lines are going to be just completely out of like ridiculous. But I'm so excited. I'm going to be a Star Wars. It's going to be great.
Can you like save up for a fast pass or something like that?
Well, yeah. So because we're going to be staying on the resort, we'll be able to reserve fast passes like a while out, which is nice because I think we're also going to reserve fast passes for like one of the Avatar rides, which like has a normally ridiculously long standby line. It's like 2 hours or something like that. Because and apparently it's an amazing ride, which is why the line is so long. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Di, do you watch Jenny Nicholson's videos?
I don't.
Because she has a whole thing about the Avatar ride, or the Avatar portion of the theme park. I don't know.
Yeah. 2 people that I know like went on it, and they described it as like just absolutely life-changing and worth being in line. And one of them just like hates being in line. So I'm counting that as I'm going to have to go on it when I'm there.
So my grandmother, like I said earlier, lives in Anaheim.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm busy all of November, but the next time you go, it never hurts for me to go visit my grandma.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm very much looking forward to like all the different ways I can be Star Wars trash in the next year.
Have I shown you my... Hold on. You're going to laugh at this.
Okay. It's an X-Wing dress.
It is my Rebel fighter dress that I wore to basically all of the movies.
You were so cute in that.
Huh?
You looked very cute in that.
Yes, I also have a Poe Dameron jacket as a cardigan.
Oh, is that from El Hoffer Designs?
Yes, I splurged. Her stuff is spendy, but
yeah. Yeah, it's not happening in the next month or so just because I had some unexpected expenses come up, but her universe has this really beautiful Padme cardigan, or not cardigan, blazer that I want.
Nice.
But it's gonna wait for a bit.
Today is so gloomy here.
Yeah, I'm waiting for it to rain here.
But that's okay. Rain weather is reading weather.
As long as we don't get any tornadoes, because we're moving into tornado season.
I hate tornado season. I'm always taken aback the first time because they have warning sirens that they test the first Wednesday of every month. And I always forget for like the first 3 months. And then we're through tornado season.
Yeah, there was something when there was I don't know, just the town where I grew up, the suburb where I grew up, it was like quite near to like basically the next suburb over had quite a lot of like industrial stuff. And so every first Wednesday of the month at like noon, they would test the alarm. That's like, if you hear this and it's not a Wednesday at noon, it's not the first Wednesday of the month at noon, it means there's been like some kind of, industrial like chemical leakage in the next town over, and like
Cool.
everybody needs to run or whatever. I don't know what we were actually supposed to do because I was very little, and probably I should know. I should have known at the time. I don't know, but last 6 stitches. Bip, bip,
So
bip.
should we?
Yes.
Yeah, we're close to the end. I need to go soon because I gotta feed.
Yeah, I'm flagging a little bit, if I'm honest. Like,
Yeah, I
I
have
want to
some
go and be
stuff I need to
horizontal a bit.
So you should. Anybody who watches this should keep an eye on our Twitter. I linked everybody's Twitter in the description already, because that's where you will find out who is hosting and when the next live show happens.
Yes.
Presumably, we will all be well and very enthusiastic. I don't know.
And I think the rotation means that I'm hosting it next month. I think.
Okay, I think so too. All right.
I'm missing a stitch again. How? How?
I don't know, but it sounds like you need your nap.
I'm gonna recount all of this because it's very pretty. Look.
It is very, very pretty.
Oh well, that was a bunch of stitches.
Okay. So this is what I have at the end too, since we can all show.
Can you?
My diamonds are starting to close.
Can you see?
Yes.
Anyway, so it's gonna be like a chevron pattern, but I need to go and recount everything.
Okay, Rachel, you want to show us where you're at?
I didn't add too much, but you can see I'm reading a lot more science fiction and fantasies. I've got the gold and red colors, so
Nice.
yeah,
It looks beautiful.
it's getting heavy enough that it's kind of difficult to hold it.
Nice.
Di, you want to show us? See your Hoovian scarf?
Yeah, so I am catching up with April, so I'm just right now knitting my... Oh shit, which one was it that was more than 2 authors? It was Arithmancy. I'm knitting that one right now.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we're going to stop the broadcast now, but everybody have a fantastic day. All right. Bye.
Bye.